everybody, welcome back to Let's Play Dark Souls 2. It's hard to get used to saying that. I kind of can't believe I'm playing the game myself, to be honest with you. We, on the last episode, finished the tutorial section of the game, got our equipment, talked to the Crestfallen Warrior, joined his covenant, and leveled up once, basically just for show. We also got our Estus Flask, which is very important. Now we are going to progress in the game. Now, there are multiple ways that you can go, right from the very beginning. But I think the best way to go is to go down here to an area called the Forest of the Fallen Giants. And we're going to get some items down here. Hopefully we'll be able to get a better weapon and a... I don't know, actually. Let me check out our shield for a second. I think the shield only blocks, like... What does it block? 85% of our physical damage that comes in, which means that even if we block, we're still going to take 15% damage from what the enemies would normally do if we took like an unshielded attack right on the face. We'll still take that damage, so we can still be whittled down really quickly, which is very dangerous when, you know, first off, it's Dark Souls, so there's a lot of enemies and they're going to be coming at you like crazy, but also we only have one Estus Flask for the time being. So that's going to create an issue for us where, obviously, and you know, it's like Dark Souls 1. In Dark Souls 1, it was way better for you to actually, like, dodge roll than to just take attacks on your shield. But in this, it's doubly so, I would say. So this is kind of like a transitory area here where we can pick up an item. I can't remember if it's any good. Just out of instinct, I attack chests to see if they're mimics. We'll see if one of those shows up a little bit later. So we get a humanity here, which is important. And then there's a little bit of a jump. And I may bung this up, because I have before. Okay, pretty good jump, and we'll be able to get Soul of a Lost Undead, which again, is not a killer item, but might make the difference between making an extra level or not making an extra level. And even if we had gone down the kind of linear path that takes us to exactly the same place, we just come out of this cave on the left instead of the entrance that I came out of. So, Forest of the Fallen Giants, we will get introduced to our first kind of like hollow-ish enemies here. They're going to attack, and as you can see, I take a little bit of damage, more than I would like there, even while shielding the attack. And like in Dark Souls 1, it's very important to memorize enemy attack patterns so that you can just block and then attack when necessary. I can't stress enough that I've done this part of the game before, so if it seems like it's too easy, you know, trust me that I died multiple times in basically every section of the game. Coming through here, and you know, for the parts of the game, that must have been a shield breaking attack. For the parts of the game that I have not done yet, I expect to die an awful lot. One thing you will notice with Dark Souls 2 versus Dark Souls 1 is that there is a ton more bonfires, to the extent that missing one is actually not a big deal. On my first time through this area, I actually didn't miss, or I didn't get this bonfire, and it ended up not really mattering at all because it's still pretty close to, like the other bonfire back in Majula is still pretty close to our next bonfire as well. So let's take these guys out. It's a little scary, you know, as in Dark Souls 1, you never really want to get multiple enemies coming at you at the same time. Just got to make sure that we are, you know, managing our stamina bar properly, and as long as that continues to be the case, that's good. I'm okay with our default equipment for now, but if we get some more items, that would be great. Life gems actually dropping a little bit faster than they did when I played through this before, and we also got some throwing knives, which we can eventually use to be a little bit more aggressive from range. But for now, let's just focus on taking these guys out. I'll probably take an arrow to the back. I would be surprised if I didn't. Actually, I got lucky. Arrows in this game, by the way, actually behave like arrows now. They no longer just curve to hit their target every single time. Instead, the enemies have really good aim, but it's not unfair anymore, I would say at least. I don't think I've ever gotten this item down here. I'm just making sure, will I be able to get back up? Yes. Well, maybe. Let me try this again. Can I walk back up here? Almost certainly. If I can, I can always just, like, homeward bone back to the bonfire or something. Nothing else over here, it appears. What do we get? Soul of a... Oh, hello! I got lucky. I thought that might break my shield. Yeah, Soul of a Lost Undead. Again, we'll crunch those to basically get levels. Or get the souls necessary to buy items. Because, again, souls, if you've never played Dark Souls 1... Just trying to see if maybe there's a secret door around here. Like in Dark Souls 1. This looks kind of fishy to me. A secret door? Not a secret door. Souls are a currency as well as an experience, but leveling up is not that important relative to how it is in a lot of RPGs. This is actually a hard area. I'm going to need to concentrate a little bit. At least it was hard for me on my first attempt. I think the secret here is actually we're going to run up and go up this ladder, and we're going to take out an archer that's at the top first. I really love the animation for that fast run up the ladder. Now, enemies might actually follow me up the ladder. They're known to do that, so I actually might farm them at the top here. I don't want them to fall down. This is actually a little scary. I'm quite low on stamina. There we go. One is... Oh, he's not dead. That happens so much that I, like, nearly kill an enemy, but don't quite. Oh, no. Oh, no. This is Dark Souls. Roll down. Now we're going to do exactly the same thing, but in reverse. And we're going to get a life gem out here. And we're going to pick this up. You know, kiting enemies still a completely viable, oftentimes even necessary strategy. I don't know why. Kind of pissed off about my hitbox there. This is fine. There's a little bit of a cheesy way to take these guys out, but it gets the job done. He should be in a bad place, if you ask me. He just cracked his buddy over the skull with an axe, but I guess that's not that big of a concern. Alright, so no items dropped there. A little bit of a scary situation, and the scariest part, of course, is that we've already used our Estus, and that means that we will not have an Estus ready to use. Oh, we did get an item. Hollow infantry gloves. Probably worse than what we're using right now, but that's fine. Yeah, we probably will not have the opportunity to use another Estus before our next bonfire, unless we die. So I don't know what's the preferable outcome there. So we'll just cut this guy up. There's still more, I don't know if they're actually called hollows. I guess they are, because they dropped hollow armor, but, or pieces of the hollow set, but, yeah, they're functionally very equivalent to the hollows in, like, Undeadburg, for example. So again, the Dark Souls got a lot of jumpy stuff going on, because they actually have a jump button now. Short Sword and Soul of a Lost Undead. We'll pick up the Short Sword, which is probably a little bit better than our dagger. At least, you know, Dark Souls, it's not just about the stats of the weapon, it's always about the moveset as well. And I like the dagger, but I much prefer the moveset on kind of a larger weapon, because it gets a broader range, and with a broader range comes a better chance to hit multiple enemies, which is actually important. So we're getting lots of soul items. I actually kind of think these are more important in Dark Souls 2 than they are in Dark Souls 1, but not everybody might share the same opinion. I seem to be focusing a little bit more on leveling up in Dark Souls 2 than in Dark Souls 1, but keep in mind this is largely probably because I need the levels, because I don't know the enemy patterns as well. Seem to have interrupted a bit of a private moment here, but that's okay. Alright, so we still have at least one hollow, and we also have this this NPC here. And I believe the NPC is basically called like a Haida's Warrior or something like that. But actually, we can attack him and he'll drop a weapon for us, but I don't want to attack him right now. We'll encounter multiples of this guy, or, you know, multiple of the same kind of unit here over the course of the game, which will allow us to farm the entire set if we want to. But I don't want to kill him right now, even though this weapon might actually be one of the most important things for us. So, yep, you have to keep an eye on the ground. Enemies will occasionally spawn from there, but our short sword is doing work for us. Eventually, we'll be able to upgrade our weapons, and of course, but for now, through the fog wall, and I can't quite remember, but I have to imagine that we are coming fairly close to a bonfire. You know, I've played so much Dark Souls 2 and made a lot of progress in the past 4 or 5 days that I kind of have forgotten a lot of the area. There's a bonfire just up there. We should probably just not farm, but take these enemies out first. As with Dark Souls 1, you want to take them out after they have finished a combo, basically. I can't remember if I can actually go the other way, though, so we'll check out that path first, because I know that this path is the path that takes you to the bonfire. Oh, this is just like an alternate entrance into this room over here, which would have maybe allowed us to get the jump on an enemy or something like that. For now, I just like destroying all the objects, seeing if maybe there's items behind them. Bookshelves in particular seem to conceal items, and that is a 20 wooden bolts for our crossbow. We can actually use those on a boss if we are so inclined, or on enemies if we're so inclined. I don't have a crossbow yet, but I have crossbow bolts now, so that's something. Bit of a tougher enemy here, at least from an attack standpoint, but from a defensive standpoint, no problem. He gives us some hollow soldier armor. And now we have to be careful, because you can't quite see it. Maybe you can now, but there's a, I'm going to crack a life gem just preemptively here. There's some legs up there. The dude with these legs really likes to throw fireballs at us. Fire bombs, I guess they would be called. So I'm just going to try to bait those out a little bit. And actually, we can be a little scummy. And I think this is a good time to do this. I do this a lot in Dark Souls 2, but running is an absolutely viable strategy that works out very well sometimes. So I think it was a smart idea. We'll see in a second. I'll come up here, and there's another enemy to fight. That was really stupid of me. Bad stamina management. And we just continually are getting staggered here. This is going to be a oh my god, I may actually die. And so close to the bonfire. So I popped a life gem very quickly. That'll give me some passive HP regen for the next little while. We'll pick up this item. It's a witching urn. I believe you can throw those like fire bombs, basically. And we should be able to open this door. And I believe this door will open into our bonfire room. All right, so we made it through the first section of the game. 0 deaths. Encouraging, but things did get a little close there. You know, as always in Dark Souls, patience is a virtue. So you don't want to rush things if you don't have to. We can also talk to this merchant.
Something, anything. Oh, come now, help an old woman and buy something.
I don't really like her laugh. So, you know, she kind of reminds me of Undead Merchant from Dark Souls 1 in Undeadburg. We can buy some items here, including like a hand axe, hammer. They're all right. I think I've used the hammer a little bit in the past. We can also buy the merchant set. It's going to be a little bit too expensive for us. She'll show up in town later, so we don't really need to worry about it. What I will do is buy the blacksmith's key, because this is something we can actually use when we get back to Majula, which hopefully we will sooner rather than later. Might be prudent to buy some life gems as well if we need them. She also sells some sorceries, which are pretty important if you are planning on being a sorcery character. But anyway, let's... Oh, I probably can't level up, so let's not fast travel. Okay, so that's section 1 of the game basically done. Section 1 of Forest of the Fallen Giants. Now, onwards to Section 2, which I would say is substantially more difficult. Disregard these, you know, pillars of flame down here at the bottom. What we are going to do is take these enemies out one by one. Now, wait for this guy to kind of get in close. It's important, if possible, to stun enemies. But oftentimes, you try to stun them in the middle of a combo and it actually doesn't work, so you have to be very careful about that. So this is one of the bonfires that, in classic Dark Souls 1 fashion, actually has a lot of areas that connect to it, and it kind of like opens up and blossoms like a flower, but for now we have a very linear path that we can take. So I believe we cannot open up this door either. I know there's an item behind me. I was just making sure that I don't miss anything. In particular, it would be awesome to get some Estus Flask shards, so I could get more Estus. Whoa, okay, camera. We will get more Estus throughout the game, but for now, we're going to be stuck with the one that we have, which makes things very, very dangerous. We got a firebomb. May or may not be useful at some point. Hey, where did you come from? These guys are not really that big of a pain in the ass, except for the fact that, unfortunately, I still take 15% of their damage just because my shield does not have 100% block. So that's stupid of me, but whatever. We'll get a 100% block shield later in the game. It'll be very important. We can't open this door either. Okay, so we're going to open up this fog wall. Prepare for me to probably die a couple of times. There's a couple of different things I want to accomplish here. The very first thing we're going to do is try to make our way over to the far right side here. And it's not an easy thing to do, so I'm going to try to sprint by all these enemies, and there's going to be an awful lot of them. So you can come up on this tree branch, roll over. Oh, I don't want to lose stamina. I have to keep blocking. That's the problem. The reason I have to keep blocking is because there's so many damned archers. I don't think I can just sneak by. I'm not too worried about that item that he dropped. Okay, so we made it past the first difficult phase, I would say. Now it's time for phase 2. In phase 2, we run, jump, and sprint. Holy crap, I actually made it on my first try. Okay, so this is important because we get an item that actually helps us out a little bit in Majula. Now, the scary part here is that there is a trap. Nice try there. And there's an enemy up at the top as well. What do we get? Human effigy. That is humanity. Alright, so we may have to fight a dude. No, the dude has been killed by the boulder. Rest assured, I and probably everyone you know got killed by that boulder the very first time. So this is an unimportant NPC for us to talk to.
I'm sorry. I was just daydreaming, I think. My name is Cale. I'm a traveler, like yourself. I'm navigating the continent to create a map. Why cartography, you ask? Well, that's a good question. When I first came to this forsaken land, it was... a curse? Something about a curse. How embarrassing. I seem to have lost my focus.
I think you mean,
you're spoiling my
For
focus.
certain. I have always been very fond of maps.
You should play some Europa Universalis 4, man. This is Dark Souls 2. I'm gonna unfortunately skip through a lot of the dialogue here. Again, NPCs talk very slowly. I know this is compromising the integrity of the game, but so be it, kind of. I think he gives me a key. Please give me a key. Oh, there we go. We got key to the house. We'll take this back to Majula, and this will actually allow us to get a little bit further into the game, and I think we get an Estus Flask shard maybe as well, but it's an important gate, basically, to get something. I'm just going to crunch a life gem because I noticed I've lost a little bit of HP. I think there might be an item down here at the bottom that I should get, but anyway, I wanted to tackle this right off the bat because we had to do it at some point. Might as well do it now. So there's where the boulder goes, but there's no item down here. So yeah, I'm glad I got that out of the way. That was probably my first 3 or 4 hours of Dark Souls 2 play right there. Trying to get to this dude and then being like, it's just a key! Was it a crummy advertisement? Anyway, we get the Amber Herb. Again, that is to restore spell uses. Not that important as I am not going to be playing as a caster here. Well, you know, like a YouTube caster, I guess. But I'm not going to be playing as Caster Troy, Nicolas Cage's character from Facebook, from Face Off. Nor will I be playing as a magic user primarily. So, you know, it's nice to have, I guess, but it's probably overkill. So, we can come up on the rampart here, and we will end up fighting this guy. These enemies, of course, will all respawn. So, you know, I'm not really getting a huge advantage from killing them, except that I might as well. And, you know, it's more souls for my bloodstain. I've decided to bypass that earlier item, because it's probably just a piece of the hollow armor set, which I'm not interested in. I've made a crushing mistake here. Don't do what I did. This is probably going to lead to my death. Run away, run away. This is the safe way to run away. Yes, this locks us down here. I'm basically just trying to get past these guys. I spend a lot, and a lot of people aren't going to like this, but I spend a lot of my time in Dark Souls 2. I need the Estus here, otherwise I'm going to die. I spend a lot of my time in Dark Souls 2 running away from enemies. And you know what? It's a perfectly viable strategy. Even if some people are going to be annoyed by it, it helps out a lot. So I'm just going to kill this guy because I can. Might as well pick up the item then. Throwing knife. And because I've used my Estus already, I actually am going to make an executive decision, and we've done half of this section. I'm going to come back up and climb the ladder and go to the bonfire. And we'll rest up. That'll give us our Estus back. We'll have to fight some of the enemies again, but now I'll show you the alternate path. And this should open up a shortcut that will give us access to the Cardinal Tower bonfire from a different direction as well, and kind of mark maybe the second part of the Forest of the Giants being finished. At least the first part of the Forest of the Giants. The second part, if you will. But this is far from over. We're still a long way away from our actual boss fight. So, I guess instead of killing all these guys, we can just sprint past them. Again, it's a viable tactic. Dark Souls is not a game where you need to farm, most of the time anyway. Alright, that guy hates gates. That's just the most important thing that you need to know about him. He should have, yeah. A lot of enemies in the game have, like, triple attacks, which makes them fairly predictable, but also if you get caught, it does an F-ton of damage. Did I have someone else come up the ladder there? No, it's just his sword is blowing away in the wind. It really looks like that was a tool of a hefty mass, I would say. Light breeze carrying it away. Alright, so I'm just gonna... I really thought I could get the backstab there, but I can't, but that's fine. He gave me an item. Let's pick that up. A life gem. Those are very useful. Of course, I've been crunching them a little bit. This guy throws fire bombs at us. An actual important strategy to get him to throw a firebomb over here. Did he not? Hey, you jerk! I needed that legging. I think we're just gonna take it on the chin. So actually what I'm gonna do is life gem up a little bit. Oh man. This is the danger of running away from enemies. Turns out they come back. So I'm actually just gonna stand here and shield. And there should be a firebomb. There we go. The firebomb has been thrown. I swear to you, there is a shortcut that opens up there. Some of the shortcuts of the game are a little bit finicky, as you may or may not be noticing here. There's an example of me failing to stun lock the enemy. Twice. Let's try not doing that attack again then. Okay, he's got a shield. I know he's got a shield. I could use our newfound guard break ability. I could also just kill him, so let's do that. And I really want to get this shortcut opened up because it's actually an important one. I don't mind crunching a life gem because they're consumable and we get them a lot. This is kind of poor play right here, but at least I still haven't died, which is kind of surprising to me. Alright, ding dong. You are supposed to come here, throw this thing at me, and then it opens up the shortcut. I can't do it for myself. Maybe I could just throw a firebomb at it. I don't know what to tell this man. Seriously? How about that one? Maybe if I stand like right here? What? I don't get it. What if it's the barrels? Maybe you have to hit the barrels? I'm trying to help you out here, NPC. That didn't even touch the... God. Do I have to do your job for you? That one seemed pretty good if you ask me. I know this works, by the way. He's got an inconsistent arm, doesn't he? I'm gonna let him go for a second here. Maybe I'll stand like over here instead. Tell you what, I'm gonna go murder this guy. And then we'll come back to this. It's an important shortcut, otherwise I wouldn't be harping on it. It actually is important for us so that we don't have to go through that bridge section every damn time. So tell you what, I'm not even gonna shield. I'm gonna face the other direction. If you'll attack me. Dude, are you aggroed? I don't like you right now. When I did this not in my series, but off camera, you took care of it right away. It was easy. Did that one work? I felt an explosion around me. Maybe I can just attack the barrels? I'm not pleased with this. Whatever. We'll come back to it later. You know, there are other bonfires. But this is okay. So there's a number of different interesting things that we could go to from here. We'll probably end the episode soon. But we'll talk to this guy. We won't even talk to him. We'll just skip through the dialogue a little bit to trigger it. And then we'll move a little bit further along. I'm pretty sure this guy actually cheats us and tries to get us killed, which is not good for me. But at the same time, does provide me an opportunity here with this gauntlet of enemies. Lucky critical hits abound, and let's go take out this crossbow archer. And we should be able to get some... Oh, he's not an archer anymore, is he? We should be able to get some items. Ooh, that was really close. Rolling still as critical as ever. Or critical as ever, I guess I should say, if I want to be a little bit more elegant. I will say one complaint I have about Dark Souls 2 is that the scripting for opening things like shortcuts oftentimes does seem a little wonky. I've had this happen with another bonfire a little bit later in the game. But really, that shortcut opened up like instantly for me when I played through it before, to the extent that I didn't even notice it was happening. I'm just rolling through the barrels to see if there's items. I think it's a pretty smart idea. Good practice to continue for the most part anyway. Can't remember, there's like a ladder up here? There's a secret room? Maybe not. Yeah, see, he closed me in. I don't know that it was him, but I'm pretty confident it was him. And we'll probably try to maybe get back to our bonfire section. And if we do that, this is really scary. This is really, really scary, actually. If we can get back to that bonfire section, then that's where I'll end the episode, I think. Ah, yes. Don't just run through enemies on a section like this. This is how people get themselves killed. But it's also how I get myself out of here. So I did miss out on an item. I'm not thrilled about that. Can these guys... Yeah, they can follow me. I'm actually kind of lost right now. I think this is... I have to roll back on this side. And then I end up on the other side of this gate. Alright. He's like, you survived. Good for you. Yeah, well, no thanks to you. There's items in there. It's a trap. Admiral Akbar.jpg. Those guys aren't going to chase me anymore. I want to go back to the bonfire, but also I want to get that shortcut opened up because I don't want to run up the tree every damn time. But we can... Is this guy still alive? He should be. Come on. Work with me here. I don't know if maybe he has to hit the barrels, and that's where I fucked up, but... Alright, I'm going to try something a little funky then. We're going to try to run for the shortcut that will open up the next shortcut to the bonfire, if that makes sense. So this is going to be the last thing that we're going to accomplish in this video, for better or for worse. And I'm not going to take out any enemies. I'm just going to run for it. This could be a terrible idea, or it could be the greatest idea I've ever had in my entire life. Okay, so they've triggered it. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle is going to be real mad at me now. And he's not an enemy that I want to fight. I think he's actually been killed. Thank you very much to Napalm Territory over there for making that happen. I believe if we get very lucky, I can pretty much just sprint to the place where I want to go if I kite enemies properly. Because I'd love to use these souls to snag a couple of levels, but it's not 100% necessary. So, come on. These enemies have to chase me down. I thought there was one behind me. We'll eventually be able to open that door, but not yet. So there's 2 enemies here with spears. Let's run. There's a fog wall. There's no more invincibility frames, or at least the invincibility frames have been, like, greatly reduced for going through a fog wall. So we could have still been killed there easily. But we missed one shortcut, so we're going to open up this shortcut instead. This is the other door that we were unable to get through last time when we came down here. So, again, my strategy of basically just sprinting through a lot of the enemies is paying out quite nicely, even though I've had a little bit of trouble and it was not as elegant as I might have liked. Let's rest up. And I think that's going to do it for this episode. So again, I hope you enjoyed actually seeing some of the content of Dark Souls 2. On the next episode, we'll... I can't quite remember how the scripting in this area works, but we might be able to get to the boss. In fact, I think we actually are at the boss right now, so I'll probably travel back to Majula and level up a little bit at the start of the next episode. But as always, series is in its infancy. It's a fledgling bird. If you enjoyed it, please quantify your support by clicking the like button. It helps out a great deal. And of course, subscribe if you want to see more Dark Souls 2 in your inbox. As always, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the episode, and I'll see you next time.